If you're looking for something that you can strap to the back of your chair to give you that surround sound experience, I just recently got sent this Colo GCS, which is a 7.1.2 surround sound system designed to mount onto the back of gaming chairs and kind of wrap around you. It's supposed to offer better sound quality or comparative sound quality to high-end sound bars, with better speaker dispersion rather than just being in front of you. Obviously, it's surrounding your head, behind you, in front, above, etc. And it's also obviously more comfortable than wearing headphones because, as you know, you wear headphones for a long time, they start to hurt your ears if you wear a hat like I do, or you get a dent in your head, or they mess up your hair if you have any left, unlike me. But I'm curious to check it out. So let's get into it. I'll go over the basic features once we get it all built, but I'd also just like to kind of touch on how difficult it is to build. I have no idea. I'm going into this basically blind. I don't know a lot about the product. I've done minimal reading. So this is just going to be user, real world experience, basically. So let's go ahead and get into it. Check it out. Ooh. So that's kind of what it looks like. Hi, Poppy. It fits on the back of a gaming chair, and these arms extend around each side of you. Speakers above you. I believe there's a small subwoofer behind the head, and there's obviously multiple speakers in these. But there it is. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy open. I'm pretty excited. It looks pretty crazy. It's very like cyberpunk vibes, in my personal opinion. Some people may like, some people may think this is way over the top and too much of a contraption to be strapped to your chair. But we're going to see how it goes. Let's get this bad boy open and find out what we're working with. Packaging, my immediate thoughts, very nice. Looks good. Reminds me quite a bit of the instructions that come with gaming chairs when you open them up. Everything seems to be packed really, really well, nice and tight in here. These are, looks like little decals or stickers. I assume this is a box, yep, with all the other stuff in it. The main U-shaped component. Again, all packaged quite nicely. Man, this thing is ginormous. I assume there's nothing else in this box. Blam. So this part's the subwoofer, and then there'll be two arms that come up here. It is nice to see that it's mostly pre-built first. There are some controls, mute. I believe that says mod. And then bass on that side. Over on this side, you have a plus and minus, which I assume is volume. We'll get into that a little more once we get it built. But it looks like it's going to be reasonably easy to assemble. So that's a plus. I'm not sure what these are yet because I have yet to read any instructions, but they look nice quality. You got a power cable. That's an HDMI cable, so that will be interesting if it needs another HDMI cable. I don't know how many HDMI ports I have left on my computer. I don't know if I have any, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it work one way or another. That's the other half of the power cable, I assume. We've got a user manual. These, I'm going to guess, are the little arms that come up. Yep, so there's a speaker here. Oh, okay. So this jack is very much like the old headphones. If you're an old person like me, headphones used to use this kind of jack. So I assume, yep, those just slot right in. That's easy. Love that. The kicker will be seeing how difficult it is to attach to a gaming chair. If it's anything like it has been so far, shouldn't be too bad. This thing is intense looking, I will say that though. Okay, that's empty. This is the mount for the back of the chair, I assume. Pretty heavy duty though. It is composite and steel brackets with some heavy duty nylon straps, Velcro, the whole 10 yards. I obviously haven't looked at the instructions yet because, you know, who uses instructions? All right. There's that. There's all the components. It has been unboxed. I'm going to take a quick peek at the user manual because I suppose that I probably should figure out how this attaches to a chair. But so far, it's been simple enough. Check back with you here in just a minute once I get it figured out. All right. So I have skimmed the instructions. I sort of know what's going on. So we're going to go from there. This thing looks intense, though. So this part essentially goes on the headrest, from what I can tell. There are some prerequisites, I guess you would call them, to the type of chair that this can be mounted on. It does say a racing style, which mine does not have the additional holes that some style seats do, but it's a Secret Labs, so I thought it would be a good base because obviously Secret Labs is a chair that a lot of people own. So I think that kind of mounts on there more or less like that. And then the shoulder straps are supposed to go up and over, then down and through here. Okay, man, this is quite the contraption. And then they kind of do one of those, from what I can tell. Looking good so far. One thing I did notice in the instructions is that it comes with an HDMI cable, and the other one is an e-arc cable, which is going to be used on some TVs. If you're a console gamer and you're trying to hook this up to a chair and then to your TV for console games, it's going to be utilizing the e-arc cable rather than an HDMI. You're connecting it to a PC like I am. It said it's going to be using an HDMI cable connected to your graphics card. So if you're someone that has multiple monitors and all of your HDMI slots are full, you may want to look at other options or consider using a splitter or something like that. Honestly, using a splitter is probably not ideal, but you got to do what you got to do. Just something to consider depending on what you're going to be using this for. There you go. That's kind of, as far as I can tell, how the mounts. Velcro's around the top. These straps go over, make this a little tighter, go over the shoulder area of the chair, and then kind of cinch down like that. I'll give you a closer look here in just a second. So here's kind of what you're looking at before it's mounted. Just to give you an idea, I don't think that those straps will be uncomfortable or anything like that in the front. They look like they hug the chair pretty well. And then this is obviously where that thing is going to mount to. It looks like those two screws there will probably interface with this here. And then there's a hinge, so I'm sure that there's some sort of leveling you can do. And then those straps just go down and under. So next we'll get this thing mounted up and adjusted. I've still not fully read the instructions. I suppose that I should do that. But also, to give you an idea size-wise, I don't know how well you can see that from this angle, but that main monitor is a 45-inch monitor. So this thing is not small. It's quite large. Not sure if I'm supposed to take these out. Doesn't look like it. No, these aren't even screws. So I think I'm missing some hardware or something, unless, oh, no. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure what these little knobs do, but we're... Okay, so those tighten down after you slide it over this little bracket. Let me give you a better look at that. I'm about to go on an adventure. Hold on, everybody. Okay. So these are the little knobs I'm talking about. They're just kind of loose here. And this just slid down over that back part pretty easily. Honestly, I didn't struggle with it, so not too bad. And then these somehow just tighten down. So not too bad. Simple enough, honestly. And then there's the hinge mechanism. So my assumption is that now we can adjust this to, yep, wherever it needs to go. Man, this thing is crazy looking. So there it is mounted on the chair. I will say it does look pretty cool. I assume the little decals go on here and like these. I haven't even looked because I don't care that much. I kind of like it all gray. If you want it to look more cyberpunky and futuristic, you can see them here and here and here and here and all those. So if you want to add those, obviously you can do that. They're just kind of on a decal sheet here. Part of me wishes those were already mounted just because it's an extra step that people have to do, but not a huge deal. Okay, now that I got proper lighting, you might be able to see this. So this is where your power source is going to go that then will obviously plug into a wall. HDMI in, so if you're using PC, you're going to run an HDMI cable from your PC to this. This little USB-C is used for firmware updates only, so it's not something you'll be using regularly unless there is a firmware update. HDMI eARC, so if you're a console person using a TV with eARC, that's going to be the port you're going to go to. And then there is also a PC mic extension port right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the power plugged in. I'm going to run the HDMI cable, and I looked into it. Well, I read the instructions more like I should have. And these things actually go back here, and then you can run the cable up them so it has a nice little tidy appearance, and you don't just have cables dangling, you know, all willy-nilly. Okay, so we're back. I've got it plugged into the HDMI port of my graphics card, and then the cable runs down around here, goes up there, plugs in like so. So that's what these little things are for, is holding the cables, basically. I will say the power cable for this thing is super long. Got it plugged in way over there. Ignore my crazy mess I have going on right now and just pretend it's not there. But super long. It's got to be 15 or 20 feet long power cable, which is awesome. I love to see it. Makes it a lot easier to use this basically wherever you want. So here it is, fully installed. As I said before, it's got controls on either side. This is the power button, and then you have volume controls. And on the other side, you've got bass, 0, bass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then different modes: FPS, Universal, Theater, FPS, Universal, Theater. So we'll leave it in theater mode. So you've got the subwoofer behind your head here, 2 satellite speakers, 1 on each side, several speakers along here, 11 total. So I've got it hooked up. Building it and assembling it really wasn't too bad, honestly. It's said that it's easier with 2 people to install, but I personally didn't really have much trouble getting it installed. Once you get this back bracket on and all the straps done up, it slots into there pretty easily. This does move. I don't know how much you're supposed to do this because it is a little scary to do, but I assume that you can fold it kind of up and out of your way a little bit if you need to, and then pull it down like you're a fighter pilot in a cockpit. I don't know. But next up, I haven't listened to it yet, so we're going to do some testing with, I'll probably do some surround sound videos on YouTube, maybe some movie clips, stuff like that. We'll test it with a few different games. Wow. Sounds pretty cool already, honestly. Okay, definitely getting that. Left front. I will say my initial reaction is it has, from assuming these are pretty small speakers in here, Very clear sound quality. It sounds really good so far. Wow. In that, the little sub behind your head, you can actually kind of feel the vibration from the subwoofer in the chair, which makes for kind of a neat, like, extra layer to it, I guess. When that did the subwoofer test, I guess, I heard nothing. So that may be too low for this subwoofer if it's a very low sound in this particular thing. But I did hear like a booming thud when it was doing this one over here. So wow. Okay. Okay. Okay, Colo. I will say that the from hearing it for the very first time, the sound quality is very, very crispy. I didn't really get any muddled mixing, as it went around, or you can definitely tell which direction the sounds are coming from based on, the speakers in their digital surround sound layout. So honestly, I'm pretty impressed so far. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I've been using the Colo GCS for a little over a week now. Basically, any video game, anything I did on the computer, I use this for it. So I can get a feel for it with a bunch of different stuff. We played Black Ops 6. I played a lot of Cyberpunk with it. We tried Forza Horizon 5. So we checked all the boxes. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed. Sound wise, it sounds really, really good. Very, very clear. And there were times in certain games, Cyberpunk, for example, when you're in some of the bars and stuff like that, there were honestly other noises that I noticed that I hadn't noticed before, or like ambient sounds, glasses clinking, people talking, stuff like that I could hear the direction of. My only drawback, or I think a negative that I could really give this system, is that it is large, and having it always on your chair and connected is a big, semi cumbersome thing to have bouncing around every time you move your chair, and having it permanently connected to your PC or the wall outlet isn't ideal. But there's not really any way around that. And so that's just something you have to take into consideration if you're looking at a speaker system such as this. Um, but with that being the only really real thing I can fault it for, I can't really say anything, because obviously that's a given. It's going to be a big thing. It's going to have some power cords. You can't avoid that. But sound wise, it sounds superb, honestly. And the little bass subwoofer behind your head does a surprisingly good job of adding another layer. It's not going to be like a subwoofer under your desk. It's not going to thump as good as one of those, obviously, because it is small. But because it's strapped to the chair, you do kind of get the sensation in the back of the chair. And in some of the more bass heavy sounds and explosions and stuff like that, you can actually kind of feel it vibrate through the chair, which I think helps add another layer of immersion to it. So that was pretty cool experiencing that. Movies sound absolutely great on it. So sound wise, it checks all the boxes. It sounds really, really good. It does add a layer of immersion. It offers that home theater feel and surround sound without having satellite speakers stuck in the ceiling and all over the room. So it definitely emulates that feel quite well, I think. Is it for everybody? No, it's not going to be for everyone. Is it a cool piece of hardware? Absolutely. It sounds great. It does what it's advertised to do. It's honestly reasonably impressive sound quality wise for how small I assume these speakers are and how small the subwoofer is. It does a good job of emulating surround sound. It's easy to tell what direction sounds are coming from, whether that's someone shooting at you in a game or someone talking on the side, whatever it may be. It's very directionally accurate, I guess. The only other thing I would say to consider is if you're someone that plays a lot of FPS games and you like to sit like this and you're either playing with a controller or on a keyboard while leaning forward, all the speakers at this point are behind you. So if you sit like this, great. If you're someone that sits forward for pretty much all your games, it's not going to have the same effect. Other than that, though, I think it's super cool. Personally, I would have liked to see it a little bit cheaper. $499 is a lot of money compared to a lot of high-end sound bars or 7.1 surround sound systems. It's not necessarily that much money because some of those get into $1,000 or more, depending on how crazy you want to get or how high of a brand you go with. So I think there's a place for it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but it is a really cool experience, and it's something I've never seen anything else like it. So if you're looking for something that you can strap to the back of your chair to give you that surround sound experience, or if you're someone with kids and you don't want to wear headphones all the time with noise cancellation, you still want to be able to hear what's going on, or if someone calls for you or whatever it may be, it's great. It's great for that. So there you have it. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this crazy contraption here, and I appreciate you watching the video. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take it easy.